Hi, I'm Matt from Parksure Insurance, and today I'm going to be talking about electric vehicles and electric vehicle chargers on residential and holiday parks and my experiences with them. So if you've got an electric vehicle and you live on a residential park home site or have a holiday home, stay tuned. If you don't, stay tuned anyway, and you can learn what all the fuss is about. Or alternatively, you can listen to my dulcet tones to lure you to sleep, wherever floats your boat. As long as you're listening and I'm not talking to myself, I'm happy. P.S. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, you may or may not be aware that the government is banning the sale of new petrol and diesel cars by 2030, with hybrid cars going by 2035. It's gonna happen, so there's no point arguing about it. So you need to be aware of the alternatives. Now, climate change is a real worry, and this is all part of their greener agenda to be more environmentally friendly and to stop there being so many cars on the road and to encourage more electric cars. In fact, the government seem to think that electric vehicles are going to dominate the market. They believe they're cleaner for the environment as they don't pollute so much like diesel and petrol cars. Now, that may be true in that they don't emit fumes and emissions like petrol and diesel cars, but where do they think the electricity comes from? Most of it comes from coal-fired and nuclear power stations. So that electric car of yours might be cleaner, but the very process in making the electricity for it is not. Now, there's wind turbines and solar farms, of course, but the materials used in making those are no less cleaner to start with, but maybe in the long run. Alternatively, we import it to keep our hands clean. I'm not sure how we can claim to be saving the planet and be environmentally friendly when we get in other countries to do our dirty work for us by producing the electricity and gas we need. Our hands might be clean, but theirs won't be. Either way, it appears that electric cars are here to stay. However, at present, the main problem for electric cars is a lack of charging facilities. During the fuel crisis of 2022, where people were struggling to buy fuel and many stations ran out, people who owned electric cars were laughing as they could simply charge their cars at home, unless they had to travel any great distance, in which case they had the same problems as petrol cars, in the fact that they had to queue up for electric car chargers as there weren't enough, and people were panicking, as people have a tendency to do, but at least you don't have the problem of them running out of electricity like they did with the petrol. Now, small trips aren't really a problem if you have a charger at home, but what about longer trips? Are there charger points en route? How many miles can you do before you have to recharge? It does add an extra dimension into planning your trips that you wouldn't have with a petrol car. And what about going on a holiday or leaving your car at the airport? Will it have enough battery left when you get back off holiday to get you home? All valid questions. The infrastructure just isn't there yet, but it's the usual supply and demand situation, chicken and egg if you like, in that the government and other industries won't invest heavily in the infrastructure, the supply, until they know there's enough electric cars on the road, the demand. Only time will tell if that changes, but it more than likely will. The government are trying to push people down this road, and it may be better for the environment and everybody in the long run. But as time and COVID-19 has shown, people don't like being told what to do, even if it's for their own benefit. So watch this space. New building regulations state you must have an electric vehicle charging point on all new builds, but this does not yet apply to park homes. So if you own a park home and you want an electric car charger at your house, you will have to get it fitted and pay for yourself. Now, on residential parks, fitting an electric vehicle charger onto your park home should not be a problem, as you own the home and you have a separate electricity bill. But you might want to check whether your park home's power supply can cope and that your fuse board is sufficient to charge your car and keep all your other electrical goods running. You don't want to find out that you can't boil the kettle when your car is charging, or that the boiler cuts out because you put too much drain on your ampage. It's worth checking also with the park, in case the park itself has a limit on what can be safely put on your electricity. If you take out the whole park, you won't be popular, especially if Coronation Street or East Dentist is on. Now, these are all scare stories, and I'm not an electrician, so I don't really know how it all works. But I do have an electric car myself, and I know from my own experience in a bricks and mortar home that the electricity board are having to come out and fit a bigger fuse on my fuse board, 80 amps up from 60 amps. as when the car is charging up, it's borderline whether the fuse will trip. One other thing to consider is if the rate that your electric car can charge up at it is limited by the amount of electricity that your house has available and the amp supply of your home. Mine is 60, soon to be 80 amps. Yours may be less, and bear in mind that your car will use 16 to 32 of those amps. My home has an electric charger, has a moderator, sometimes called a dynamic load balancing, which limits the charge rate to the car depending on what is using electricity at the same time. So during the day, when the lights and kettle are on, the charge rate may be significantly lower than the amount it can draw overnight. So obviously the car takes longer to charge whilst you're using a lot of electricity for other things than it would when you're not. So if your house has a lot of things using electricity all the time, you may find your car takes twice as long to charge up. Now, holiday parks are different in that you more than likely won't be able to park your car near your holiday home. So you won't be able to get an electric car charger installed on your holiday home, as it would be pointless. If the park have electric vehicle chargers at all, they're likely to be in the communal car park. So you will no doubt have to share them with other users. Therefore, depending on how many people also have electric vehicles, it's either going to be potluck whether you can find a free electric vehicle charger point to charge your car up, or the park may have a booking system. Either way, you're going to be paying more for the electricity than you would be doing at home. Hopefully, once electric vehicles become more popular, the parks will install more chargers, and this worry may be a thing of the past. But for the time being, you may be sharing the supply and ampage across all the electric vehicle charger points available. So whilst you might be used to charging your car at 32 amps at home, you may find, due to the chargers having dynamic load balancing, that the ampage available at the holiday park is only 5 amps, and your car takes 6 times as long to charge. Something you will need to take into account if planning trips the next day. From my own recent experience of staying over at a holiday park which had over 12 electric vehicle chargers, which might sound plenty, but when you consider there were over 300 homes on the site and must have been at least 50 electric cars that I counted, it was a struggle to find a free one, especially when you bear in mind it can take 8 hours to charge up a car. So once they're on there, they tend to be on there all day. I had to get up extra early one day just to get the car down to a communal car park and on a charger. Not something I plan to do on holiday when I'm meant to be relaxing. Now, all electric vehicles have the facility to charge from a normal 13 amp plug, but as mentioned, the car normally charges at 16 to 32 amps, so you're cutting the charging capacity drastically, let alone the fact that you won't be able to use much else in the holiday home whilst it's charging, as amps into the property is normally 40, but may be limited to 16 amps. You can reduce the amperage your car charges at so you can use more in the holiday home, but it means your car takes longer to charge, which sort of defeats the object and convenience of having an electric vehicle. The majority of holiday parks will not want you doing this anyway, as you may trip the fuse, so they will want you to use designated electric vehicle charger points if they have them, and they will have prepared the park electrical infrastructure to take account of this. If your park does not have a designated electric vehicle charger, and they don't allow you to charge from your holiday home, you'll be limited to the motorway electric vehicle chargers, which can be expensive, or town ones, which although cheaper, will still be more expensive than your home. All things to consider when thinking of buying an electric vehicle. So a good deal to think about and consider if you own or are thinking of purchasing an electric vehicle in the future, and no doubt at some point in the future you will buy one. I'm certainly not saying you shouldn't. I've got one myself, but there is a lot to think about if you're getting one, even more so if you own a residential park home or a holiday home. And that's it. I'm sure there's some stuff I'm not aware of, and as I said, I'm not an electrician, nor in any way an electric vehicle expert. I'm just offering my advice from my own experience with my own electric vehicle, and from visiting residential and holiday parks. So I can't confirm everything I said is 100% correct. I'm just advising you to be aware and to check what you're allowed to do in your area and what your home and park are able to cope with before you proceed. So, good luck, and I hope you enjoy your electric car. Call us to discuss this or to obtain an insurance quotation on free phone number 0800 731 9583 or visit us at www.parksure.com. And not forgetting, keeping an eye out for more Parksure top tips in the future. P.S. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss more exciting YouTube content from me. Good luck.